Hey, what's up, mi gente? It's Anthony Rosa, the community finance coach, aka Mr. Remedy, and you are watching another show on our Money Monday segment, Winning with Real Estate in 2025. I'm super excited. I have my co-host here, Cynthia. Cynthia, you've been a good friend for many years. I'm so happy to finally have you on. So please introduce yourself and let's jump into the conversation.
Hey, Anthony, thank you so much for having me. Like you said, we have known each other for a long time, so I'm really appreciative that you invited me to be on today. Happy Money Monday, everyone. My name is Cynthia Lubin, and I am a real estate broker licensed in New Jersey and New York, and I'm also a CPA. But my passion is real estate. I really want to get the word out about how people can win with real estate and really just like break the fear that everyone has, about owning real estate, the responsibilities that come with it, and help people to really see that it's just like a very valuable, worthwhile investment and that you can really do very well financially with it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here changing the narrative and we're
Absolutely.
taking all stigmas out of purchasing a home. And for me, as a finance coach, I've been practicing credit repair with individuals for over 9 years. And Cynthia, it is no better feeling. There's not too many feelings in the world that give you the satisfaction of bringing somebody that wasn't pre qualified to pre qualified and then working with a referral partner like yourself that gets them the home of their dreams.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No,
So winning with real estate in 2025, what does that look like? So, Cynthia, what are some of the fears that you mentioned that people have with purchasing real estate?
the biggest fear that I hear people have is just the responsibility that comes with it. Something breaks down, then they don't know how to fix it, they don't know who to call. I also feel like, financially, that is a concern. It's a concern having to pay a mortgage. But I feel like people should be more scared to pay their landlord. When you're paying your mortgage, you're kind of paying yourself. And to me, I want to again change that narrative where, when you're paying a mortgage, I want you to look at it like you are paying yourself. You're making an investment into yourself, and you should feel good about that. There should be no fear. You should trust yourself that you will make smart decisions, and it will be something that will be beneficial to you and your future self and your legacy. If you have children, if you have a family, you're putting money into something that will do good for them and not for your landlord later on. So those are the two biggest fears: the responsibility that comes with home ownership, and paying the mortgage. And I always tell people, like, I didn't come from a family of homeowners. This is something that I learned along the way. When I graduated college, I went to a job fair and I met somebody. They were like, "Do you want to sell mortgages?" Had no idea what mortgages was. This is back in 2004. They sat me down. They're like, "Just call these people. We'll train you." And, I just called these, the people that they gave me, the list of people. And I learned over the years, and I saw over the years, like, people were, from the equity that they were building through their homes, like doing some phenomenal things that I feel like we all should be doing, like paying off college educations, building homes, and making bigger investments, buying more investments. Like, there's so many things that you can do with home ownership. And, again, I want to make that I want to normalize that,
Right.
actually. I want to normalize that for people.
There's not too many, I think that there's more renters, obviously, based off space and availability than homeowners. And I think that we have a crisis with homes in the market. Do you feel that that should stop people from buying?
Not at all. I feel like, that's kind of intentional to make people more, to make more renters, and that kind of like funnels the money up to a select few of people. That's how people get wealthier. And again, to like break that down and, rebuild rearrange or redistribute, I should say, the wealth back to, the everyday person. You have to own something. You have to own an asset. We all need somewhere to live. Why can't that be, your home? So I don't feel like that should be something you should be intimidated by. I think that one barrier is sometimes starting where you are. Some people want to get that dream home, and unless they get the dream home, they're not buying. And I feel like sometimes we have to take baby steps. Maybe start off with something smaller, build the equity, in that, and then make your next move. But there's so many ways to, like I said, build wealth with real estate. It's not one size fit all. Some people, can take the leap and buy their dream home, but again, some people do have to take steps. And I think in this economy, with the way prices are, that's a conversation that I have with a lot of people. Like, we're gonna get you to that dream home, but it may not be one big leap. It might be a series of steps, and we'll get there, but don't be scared. You're going to get there. Take the step. It's better than not doing anything at all and getting stuck in being, a renter forever and making your landlord rich.
I like this part of the conversation, navigating to your dream home, because you're right. Unless you have that budget for that $900,000 home, especially in our area, right, that dream home, it's gonna take you to get there. What is this 3-2-1 theory, or what does that navigation look like for those that maybe did take that first leap of faith, bought their first home, and they're looking to build up to their dream home? What is that? Have you heard of that 3-2-1 formula?
I've heard of different formulas, and that's to me, it's funny because again, like I said, I'm a CPA. I went to business school. I've been in real estate and finance for many years, and it seems like all of these things are like these quotes are kind of new. I didn't always hear them. I don't think, again, it's not a get rich quick scheme. There's no formula. Like everybody's situation looks different. I do think the overall concept, though, is the same, where you buy your first home, you build equity, and you take that equity, which is how much is the home worth versus how much you owe on your mortgage. You take that difference and then you apply it to something else. So if you bought a home, for $100,000, you have a $50,000 mortgage, you take that $50,000 in equity and you apply it to the next home. And then, in the meantime, you're also going to be working. So you should have savings elsewhere that you can apply to the equity. I don't want to get too in depth and too complicated, but that 50, how long does it take most of us to save $50,000?
Yeah.
And in our market, we're talking about, hundreds and thousands of dollars people are getting in equity by buying their first home. And I had, for instance, I had a client, they purchased a home, small home, $250,000. Was since the time they purchased their home 4 years ago, they had 2 kids. They're like, we're gonna call you 2 years. We just need 2 more years to save more money. And I'm like, do you know how much your home is worth? I was like, I think you should call your lender. And I did some comps. I told them how much I think their home is worth right now. They were able to buy a $600,000 home and make a huge leap from the first home that they bought 4 years ago in a quick amount of time. And they thought they needed 2 more years.
That's amazing. That's an amazing outcome and a testimony, just by you being their, advocate. You're standing in the gap for them. I think that's amazing. How many of us out here are still renting or are not in our dream homes? I'd love for you during this lunch and learn to really think about where you are and where you want to be. And if you don't have a plan, let's create one. Let's look at your credit report. Let's make sure that you're on track. Let's get you set up with a lender. Let's see if you're pre-approved. And, Cynthia, what are you finding in the market right now? People are hesitant because of interest rates. they're saying you can build wealth with life insurance, and they're kind of not wanting to go into the market. What are some of your thoughts?
My thoughts are do both. I always say there's no right time to buy a house. It's always the right time to buy a home. Everybody's going to need a home. You can't wait until the market, until rates drop, because then you're going to be competing against so many people, and you're going to be facing, inflated pricing. Right now, while the prices are higher and people, some people are priced out, some people are waiting, use that to your advantage and, buy a home. You have probably more leverage with the sellers because, again, there are not as many people buying at the moment for whatever reason. Use that, but have the asset. And to that point, too, it's not always about timing the market, it's the time in the market. The more time you are in the market, or have your home and you're building equity, that's more wealth for you to build and have in the long run. So don't wait. If your situation calls for, like I was just telling you about my client, they were running out of space because they had more children. So for them, they were like, we need to make a move now. Some people, they may be renting, their leases may be up. Don't get into another lease right away. Explore what it would look like to buy something and see if it makes sense for you to make the move now. And then if it does, make the move. Even if the rates are a little bit higher, you can always refinance and get a better rate later on. But like I said, use that as an opportunity to not have to compete against so many people and really have to pay more in the long run.
Yeah, especially, I had up there, if you have a growing family like mine, I think that even post COVID, right, we saw that divorce rates went up, and there was more, more children, COVID babies. So we have to understand the time that we're in, the market that we're in. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right, 100%. If we can reinvest our equity and understand and have a good plan. I was having a conversation about this with a referral partner, and they were talking about a 2-2-2. Every
Mm-hmm.
2 years, take the equity out of the house, keep the equity, use that as your down payment. What are some of your thoughts? Is that a good strategy for navigating to, in 6 years, have that your multiple properties and using the equity on each one, not selling it to keep it as rental income, and then that can build up towards your dream home? What are your thoughts on that navigation process?
So every 2 years, they're taking out equity and buying another property.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, if that works for them, for sure. I'm all for, owning as many properties as possible. That makes sense for you. And some people, it could be one. For some people, it could be 10. Everybody's different. But for them, I do think, like, if the house has appreciated enough, their ratios work, it makes sense, go for it. I don't think that's a bad strategy. Are they're purchasing rental properties?
Well, they're living in it for 2 years, and then they would refinance, uh, turn that into an investment property, and then live in the next house for 2 years, kind of do the same thing, and then build up.
I mean, I don't know if you necessarily have to do that. I know, a lot of people that live in their primary residence for many years, and, they can leverage the equity in their home, and buy another property, or else leverage the equity in, their other investments to buy other properties.
That makes
Everybody's strategy is different. I don't know if you necessarily, I don't like moving every 2 years. So I don't know if that's
sense. True.
necessary.
Yes, that's
But
true. No, I
yeah.
don't like I don't want to continue to move. In my personal life, I've moved quite often in my upbringing, and I like that, being just right, just not so much moving around.
I know
Cynthia.
a ton of investors that, sit still and they let the properties, they leverage the properties that they have, but they have like their primary residence, and, it works for them. But if that works for the person and it makes sense, go for it.
I love that you're just having a friendly conversation, talking about multiple strategies, right? Because there's more than one way to peel the onion, and at the end of the day, you have to be in it to win it, right?
Hmm.
So, with that said, Cynthia, what is our call to action for those that are watching this Lunch and Learn?
The call to action would be, don't be scared to, look into owning a home. If you don't own a home already, call me, call Anthony. We'll have a discussion with you. Take a look at your financial situation. If you want to be wealthy, you have to know what your numbers look like. Don't, you can't be scared, to have these conversations. So I would say, first off, start off with having the conversation. What does it look like to have homeownership? What are your concerns? What are your fears? Then I would say, talk to a loan officer, have them run your credit, run your report, tell you what you look like. What do you need to work on right now? Then if the lender says, hey, you need to work on your credit, talk to Anthony. He'll get you up to par, so that way you can get the best rates and the best terms. And once we get you into a good position, then you come to me, and then we'll come up with a strategy to make that budget work the best for you, whether it's a single family home, condo, multi-family home. Again, we'll come up with a strategy to get you to your dream home. So the call to action is to call us and see what that looks like for you, see what home ownership looks like for you.
Oh, I love that. There was a lot of gems that we shared today, and especially talking a little bit more about winning with real estate. And this is a conversation that we have to have. So it was a very good lunch and learn. I really appreciate you coming on, Cynthia. And, as we're rounding third base, coming to a close, what are some of your final thoughts of winning with real estate in 2025?
Don't go off of what you hear on social media. That would be a final thought. Talk to professionals like myself, like Anthony, talk to us. And, we do this on a regular basis. There's no, quick fix. There's no, get rich quick scheme. What is your situation? Don't be scared. And, like I said, people are really, really winning out here. Don't make your landlords rich. Make yourselves rich. Build a legacy for yourselves.
I like that. I like that. And what is a goal of yours before we wrap up? Tell everybody what's a personal or professional goal you could share.
Personal, professional goal. This year, I want to help the most amount of families that I've ever helped before. My goal is to help 40 families get into home ownership. Like I said, this is something that's really a passion of mine. I feel like a lot of people are missing out on wealth and opportunities by being scared of home ownership. And I just, like I said, want to normalize it. Want to get people in that door and on their way to building wealth and building a legacy for their futures.
All right, well, you heard it here, folks. We gotta support this goal, and let's get what did you say? I want to quote it best. You said, "Stop making your landlord rich."
Don't make your landlord rich. Come on now.
I love that. Don't make your landlord rich.
Yeah, it's not even just about paying their mortgage. You're making them rich. Keep the money for yourself. Like, the price of eggs are getting too high, right?
For real. This was a great lunch and learn, talking about winning with real estate. If you were watching on the live, #live. If you're watching later on the replay, #replay. We always close the show with a quote. This is from Armstrong Williams. Now, one thing I tell everyone is learn about real estate. Repeat after me. Real estate provides the highest returns, the greatest values, and the least risk. Thank you so much for watching. This is Anthony Rosa, Mr. Remedy, the community finance coach. See you next Monday on our Money Monday series. Bye, everybody.
Great. Thank you. Have a good one.